This is Newsroom Weekend on CNN Philippines. Welcome back. During President Duterte's 2018 State of the Nation address, there was a glaring absence of his plans for the education sector. However, months before last year's SONA, he signed into law the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. Now, how did the Duterte administration fare with the youth's hopes and expectations in the past year? To help us look into the eyes of the young generation or the youth, we have here with us student leaders from 3 of the top universities in the country. Thank you so much for joining us. English major Maya Santos. She's from the Poly Technic University of the Philippines. And we also have student journalist Emmanuel Elazo from San Beda University. Hi naman dyan. And Humanities and Social Sciences. And lastly, student James Carwin Bandila from the Dela Salle University. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us. First, let's talk about the hits and misses. What are President Duterte's promises in his 2018 SONA that you think he was able to live up to? And then maybe some of those that seem to have been swept under the rug. So basically, yung mga, sa tingin nyo, mga successes and, let's say, failures. Let's start with Maya.
We consider or we treat the signing and the implementation of the UACTEA or Universal Access for Quality Tertiary Education Act of 2017 success under the Duterte administration, of course, with the collective effort and collective action of the Filipino youth sector. But however, with the implementation of the UACTEA, there are still certain conditions, certain restrictions for the youth to access free quality education.
Such as, what do you think?
For example, we have this mandatory ROTC, the revival of mandatory ROTC among the senior high school students. We find this fascistic attack on the youth for it submits to a violent program which has historically been proven an institution of macho fascism, violence, and corruption.
So you are not for that?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Emmanuel?
I would say parang there has been lots of criticisms about President Duterte's war on drugs. May it be positive or not, since we're talking about the hits, it's effective. You would actually see. The people are slowly but surely catching up to the wave of times of Duterte's administration.
One of the positive things that Duterte has done is the increase in the national minimum, in the minimum wage, especially here in Metro Manila.
Yes.
However, there's still lots of things to consider, and those perhaps that have been swept under the rug is his promises in, let's say, for example, the China. We want to see in this next SONA na ano nga ba talaga ang nangyari na dito sa China, and what is his real stand? How will we be able to defend ourselves from China despite their continuous incursions and despite this continuous militarization of the South China Sea?
Now, Maya, what about the programs and advocacies in the past 3 years of the Duterte administration? What do you think, the youth can relate to?
Of course, the youth can relate to or could protest against with the lowering of criminal responsibility from 13 to 9 years old. Hindi niya i-address yung growing at worsening poverty at criminalization sa bansa. Ang dapat bigyan ng access, proper rehabilitation process ang youth, ang kabataan, lalo na yung below 13 years old sa mga ganitong implementation at program.
Okay. And what are the presidents, sa tingin nyo, yung mga programs and advocacies niya na nakatulong sa youth?
The Free Education Law is a very remarkable, perhaps landmark siya. No? Pagdating sa SUCs, pagdating sa advocacy ng presidente dun sa kabataan, ay medyo, parang masyadong disciplinary and destructive pagdating sa kabataan. Hindi siya constructive in a way.
Tomorrow, it will be Mr. Duterte's 4th State of the Nation address. And what specific matters would you like the President to focus on? What would you like to hear?
gusto kong i-address ng President Duterte, what are his plans on this mandatory ROTC, on the revival of mandatory ROTC? Is still the government gonna push through with this policy, lowering of criminal age responsibility? Gusto ko rin pong bigyan ng highlight ng administration yung growing call ng mamamayang Pilipino, not just students, to remove or to junk the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion law or yung train law that further worsen the situation of the Filipino people. And syempre, as well, dahil nanggagaling din po ako sa sektor ng kababaihan, sana wala tayong marinig, wala po tayong makuha sa State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Duterte bukas na nag-degrade sa hanay ng kababaihan.
I expect from President Duterte. First is, I have 3 points, 3 expectations. First is his stance on really pushing for his legislative agenda on pushing for death penalty for drug-related offenses. Yung second kung gusto marinig tomorrow is, yun nga, like Maya said, is the train. About the train. How is the second tranche of the train law, how will it affect the general population? Third is, I would like to hear from him, yung addressing about what he said earlier about the China dispute. What are his ways, or what is his most concrete way on asserting our rights in the West Philippine Sea?
Sa akin, isa, pero broad, human rights. Kamakailan lang, di ba, sinasabi ni Duterte na kapag ang mga opposition ay magsasalita raw laban sa kanya, ay papaaresto niya raw sa Philippine National Police. And this is scary. A lot of students and a lot of sectors now are going against the administration, such as those policies from train law, ROTC, MACR. And kapag nagkaroon ng mga opposition, di ba dapat tinatangkilik natin at iniintindi natin yung side nila. Upcoming SONA, the president rather, must take note of human rights, and he must address it in the most immediate time possible.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in and giving us your opinions. And those were really fresh ideas there and opinions. Thanks again for coming today. Maya Santos from PUP, Emmanuel Elazo from San Beda, and James Carwin Bandila from Dela Salle University.